Are you ready to get it together and get a new house of your dreams? We know the perfect people for you.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, Art. Someone was asking me the other day, hey, do you know any good loan officers? I said, as a matter of fact, I do. And that's Kirsten Ballew out of Montrose, Colorado. One of the best and experienced when it comes to this, guys. When you want to get into your dream home, this is who you're going to want to work with.
Absolutely. And definitely check out the show notes. Down in there, we do have a link. And once you click on that, visit the site. Make sure to mention Discussion Combustion Podcast, and you will save $500 on your closing costs.
We'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado.
This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
As you know, Discussion Combustion fan favorite. Our fans and our viewers and listeners, I like to call them viewers and listeners, not fans.
Yes.
They are always asking for Jacqueline. What's she up to? When are you getting her back on? Fan favorite, back in action. You've been to all of our studios, all three of them. You're back now. It's great to see you. You look great.
Thank you, guys. It's good to be back.
Yeah, and I mean, you just been staying steady Eddie the whole time too, and that's it's kind of fun because you've been with us since earlier phases, right? And we've been seeing you grow as well, like with what you do with 99 Hearts and the Rose Talks and all these other projects, and like they didn't exist a year ago, and you're doing all this stuff. So it's fun to like, because we consider you like you're in our wheelhouse, like you're one of our friends, you're part of our network. And so to see our network being successful and like doing what they love, like there's something about that. That's why we will always support your stuff. You already know this though.
Right back at you guys. Yeah, it's wonderful just to see people do that. Here you go. Yes, that's what life is. That blossom bloom thing going on.
It's good to build a good network, And shout out to Louie for, early on recommending or referring you to our program, because what a great, friendship and partnership that we've developed, and being able to collaborate and coordinate things, talk, support each other's stuff has been really fun. It's been fun to watch what you do, weekly on social media and all the projects that you've been working on. It's inspiring. You inspire a lot of people. I mean, I remember after episode 100, people were like, wow, I want to be like Jacqueline. So that's terrific.
Yeah, it's been upward. I mean, I think it was probably April, and all of a sudden things just went boom. So it's been a really good time.
It's been a good ride.
Yes.
So since we last visited, what's kind of some of the new developments? I know we talked a little bit off mic about some of the photography opportunities and growing the Roadshow and all that. What's kind of the details looking like on that and things you've been working on?
Yes, so I actually have been doing some modeling lately again. I stopped in 2017 and kind of thought it was like a good end time, good end age, and moving to the ranch and really getting serious about growing the charity at the time. And I got back into it to promote the Roadshow initially, and I've just fallen in love with the cars. I've been doing some modeling with cars, and it's like, modeling with cars. And so I kind of went back to the drawing board a little bit on going back into this kind of thing, modeling, being in front of the camera, whether that's, acting, modeling, so forth. One of the things that I really am advocating for, supporting, is people being natural. And there's no judgment around anything else, but just trying to encourage ladies and people in general, just be yourself from a physical standpoint, emotional, mental, all of it, right? So
I love that. I mean, that's what we try to do here every week. I mean, we sit down at a table with a beer and just get to know people. Put it out there, what you've been up to, what you thinking. We need more of that. And so I'm glad that you support that and you're encouraging that and inspiring people to do that, because we need more of it in this time.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that mission, and the purpose behind it is self-empowerment for individuals. And that's so important, to be self-sufficient and like feel like you have the capability to achieve what you want to go capture, even though if it's hard to go capture. And so the more comfortable everyone can feel about themselves, just imagine the world if everyone was, felt good about themselves and their lives. And sure, like, life will always throw a lot of crazy circumstances at us and unfortunate events, but when you're self-sufficient and you're not like looking for confirmation and you're just loving living, like even through the mayhem and chaos, you can see some glimmers of light, and it's so important to focus on that.
Yeah, it's kind of like being in a welding shop. Like, you see these TikTok videos of people in a welding shop, and you're just like, WTF, you see all this stuff scattered, and before you know it, they're building a giant octopus or whatever, right? And that's how life is. Yeah, absolutely. Kind of adopting the right mindset can make the journey super awesome. As cliche as that is, I'm like actually living it right now, and it's pretty fun.
It's almost like the Twilight Zone a little bit.
Yeah.
Like no joke. Since I went to Jamaica a couple months back or something, but ever since coming back from that trip and having a great time on that trip and like learning a couple, like I had a couple spiritual moments. Like I wouldn't say I'm not religious, but I do believe in higher powers, and I came back a little different. And I feel like ever since I came back, like life's just been a little different for me.
Yeah.
And I've been embracing that and being grateful. I feel like that's my biggest thing right now, is remaining grateful about things and knowing that I'm fortunate to even have the circumstance, right?
Yeah.
But it's beautiful. It could be a beautiful life, and I've been through the darkness. The listeners know. Like I know you've been through your dark times. Same with Kev.
Yeah.
But like being on that second lease on life, I feel like when you know that, it makes it even sweeter.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, all the suicide prevention stuff. That second lease on life, that's a really good way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of being a survivor of all that, and you go, oh man, this is what it is. And all of the insecurities and things like that just used to be an actual legit thing, are kind of like, well, what's the worst that can happen at this point, right? So yeah, it's pretty awesome when you look at what you've been through and go, oh, it's not as bad to be myself as going through that, right?
True.
Yeah.
The experiences lead us to the light, right? I mean, since we last visited, I've gone through a major breakup. I was in a long-term relationship. It's been very difficult on both her and I. And, it's one of those deals that you really have to just, I have to just digest it, right? I've been so focused on growing this business and podcasting and putting my focus other places that sometimes I get lost in the emotions of what I went through. Just fast-track mine, floor it, 0 to 60, that kind of mindset is kind of how I've operated. And so I'm trying to remind myself that you got to feel the bad with the good, right? Because things have been really, really good for us. We're very, very fortunate to do what we do. And so I'm just trying to remind myself that the moments, memories, and experiences that I live through, I got to take them all in, and some take with a grain of salt, some learn from, grow from. We're always learning and growing, and tomorrow's never promised. So I've really been in that mindset of just going out there and enjoying life and trying to own it a little bit. But never forget where we came from. We're moving forward. We've all been through hard times. Everyone out there has struggled with something at one time or another.
Yep.
But we're not going to let that define who we are as individuals for the rest of our lives. You can own it at any moment, Jacqueline, like we've talked about on previous podcasts. I mean, we've all been through monumental transitions in life and experienced things. And I think it's just good to kind of, touch on that every now and again.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, what a more perfect person to have in here than Jacqueline Rose.
Epic.
To kick off a conversation like this. It's and I'm happy that we're getting this done early, because I always want to touch on this at least once every episode. Like, let's talk about some real things, subjects that really matter, and from there, what you got to do is just really try to make it real, right? Because everybody's going through something, and as good as like it can appear, it doesn't mean that it's always that great, right? So I'm happy that we're talking about this early. But however, one thing that I love that you're into, which, I mean, come on, if you're a petrol head, you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
is all the classic cars, and not only that though, but these like classic planes that you've been like that you took photos with. What was that plane photo shoot like? Like, where did you have to go for that? Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So I'm actually so grateful for that photo shoot, because that's what got me back into like, wait, why do I retire from all this stuff that I used to love doing, right? Sometimes you think you have to choose something to go forward, and instead of encompassing the whole picture. And I was thinking I need to do an epic photo shoot to work at the Roadshow. Well, there was a gentleman who had volunteered at one of our empowerment photo shoots for 99 Hearts, and he's an active military photographer, and I wasn't planning to do any photos with him, but he took a few photos of me on the bar after the gal was done getting her photos done, and I was like, wait, this guy should photo my my Roadshow launch.
Yes.
And so a friend of mine ended up connecting me with the car and plane owner. And so I said, hey, who do you know with the Firebird? And he's like, well, I know somebody with the Firebird and a Marines, 1950s Marines plane. I know you're helping the military, folks from the military with suicide prevention. And so it just went like boom, 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 and it was just perfect. So it was an active military photographer that made my day. And then I had to climb on this plane. You know, there's these vintage planes you have to climb on. It's not like a ladder that just drops down.
Yeah.
It's like a hole here that's, you stick your hand in it.
Okay.
This is this, and it's built that way, but it all looks smooth so that the airtight still remains. And so I'm in this giant wedding dress size thing.
Yes.
Climbing
was that the
on.
red dress day?
Yeah.
That's what we use for the
What you guys
promo
use
clip.
for that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, the poor guy's like, thinking, oh man, I hope this girl makes it up there. So just climb on, and it was a good time. We listened to classic rock the whole time.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a good old American afternoon right there.
It wasn't it? Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It just didn't have my cigar.
Yeah, we were fortunate a couple weeks ago. Our good friend, shout out Anthony Cornelius over at Centennial Airport. Anyone that follows us on social media probably saw the stories. We got a full-on tour of the airport. We got to see the F-18s live action, stand next to them, touch them. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've always had a fascination with, I mean, war is kind of interesting just in general, just, because it's so brutal. But, like, the machines that we use, and aviation is so, like, we're not meant to be in the sky, right? But here we are. And that thing dominates the sky. And just being next to that piece of machinery was very enthralling, if I may say so.
I bet. Yeah, military airplanes are a thing, and then the engines. So I've always been fascinated by engines since I was a little kid, and I would crawl under them and try to pretend I was working on them. And once I actually ended up hiding in one of the cars, pretending I was working on it, and the customer came back to pick up their car as a little child with an auto thing that my parents had an auto thing.
You were hiding in it?
And I was hiding in it, and I was like, I'm here! And the poor guy was like...
Did you scare the crap out of him?
He screamed. And I'll always remember that. But, and just, I don't know, yeah, engines, it's just fantastic.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, the obsession with motors.
Yeah, you're speaking. I mean, I host a podcast called Mash the Gas on Monday nights. We talk NASCAR over there, but we're petrol heads. We had Willie B on from 107.9 a couple weeks ago, and he's a huge petrol head. He brought his 69 Stingray out there that we got to check out, which was
awesome.
pretty cool. I'm pretty sure it was a 69. Sorry if I fucked that up, Willie.
It's
But
probably a 63.
it might have been, actually. But the fact remains, there's something about engines and cars and the energy that brings. It's fantastic. I know we touched on this last time, and I pulled my Ford tattoo out. I'm not going to do that to you this time.
Damn.
But just know,
That's the only reason I showed up.
we love cars for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So one thing I do want to stand next to at least once in my life, and look, if there's any pilots out there that want to indulge a playa, then put me in that cockpit of an Apache helicopter. I would just love, there's something about the way the Apache looks and what it's capable of. Oh,
The Apache's badass.
That's sexy.
Yeah, I've never been in, or I mean, I've seen helicopters, but I've never been in one or ridden on one. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, I've gone skydiving, but that was a plane. So yeah, that sounds fun. Yeah, it was really cool. SpaceX is what screwed my brain up. Not really, but when I was working there in 2013, I was third party. It was a third party contracting role, and we were doing talent. And I did a tour, and it was of Grasshopper.
What's Grasshopper?
I think that was the name of it. It was one of the first recyclable rockets in Texas, at the McGregor, Texas location of SpaceX. And I went in there, and they were teaching me about how the instrumentation works on those rockets, where you're finding these guys that understand instrumentation for rockets. And it was so cool. That just got my head into, because I was always into car motors. That got my head into what other motors actually power these rockets, these big, the Apache helicopters. It's pretty cool if you actually take the time to learn about it. how they all
The
work.
engineering behind it's epic.
Yes.
It is.
So working with SpaceX, I mean, like Elon Musk,
It was a
SpaceX?
third-party contracting
Okay.
role. Yeah, at the time, yes, it was. We were doing their talent, so we had some on-site stuff. It was in Texas,
Yeah.
in McGregor, Texas, and that, that one inspired me actually
That's cool.
to stop doing that kind of work. SpaceX did.
Inspired you to not do that work.
Yeah, I was like, damn, this is so awesome. No, it was so cool that I was just like, man, I need to stop and go open my nonprofit. Just kind of seeing a company that cared
Yeah.
so much about changing the world in space and kind of what it was like to meet these guys that are building these rockets and how many hours they work
yeah.
and how, like, there was cows, cigar bar, Italian restaurant, and a gas station at that time in that town, and SpaceX.
Okay.
So it was like nothing to do. So these guys would like up and just pack up, leave family in Alabama or whatever, and come out and weld like launch pads and things like this for rockets.
I guess that makes sense why Elon Musk then moved Tesla and that whole operation to Texas. Seems like everybody migrated from the California operations to Texas. I mean, it makes sense, right? There's a lot going on down there, a lot booming business. Austin, I know, is big. I'm not familiar with McGregor, though. I don't know where is that.
It's
Where's
just
that?
a really small place.
Okay.
It's a lot of cows. Only cows know where it is. I'm kidding. No, it's a wonderful place, actually. It was pretty wonderful. I loved it. It changed my life. It really did. It just inspired me. Like, it's time to open the nonprofit now. And I quit. And
And it's been doing well, though. The nonprofit has been doing
Yes.
really well.
it has, yeah. It's yes. We've been working with veterans, and that's kind of this like sweet spot, but also other people that struggle with suicide. Suicide prevention has been the big deal these days, and it's been fun making suicide prevention fun. How do you do that? So that's been our goal, and it's been wonderful.
Well, it's important because you have to like show that life can be fun. Like when I was coming out of the drug addiction, like life was just gray. Like you couldn't see the color in the day sort of thing. And so it's inspiring to see people that can enjoy the little things without that extra kick or whatever. And that's coming from an addict's perspective. I've never dealt with the latter or what you're talking about.
Yes.
However, I feel like there's some parallels there.
Absolutely.
Where it's like you're in this tough place. It's hard to see life beyond the present sometimes. And to have an inspiring person like yourself who has also dealt with that serious of an issue, and what you've done with your life and how busy you stay and sustainable, like it's inspiring. It is. And so it's a great cause. That's why Kevin and I will sponsor your stuff when we have a time and the funds to do it.
Of course.
Because we're always throwing them around, but like we love having you on here so we can talk about what you do, and we love getting behind it too because it's just it's bigger than an individual. Like what you do is bigger than yourself, sort of thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been wonderful. We have a couple new veterans, and that's amazing. I can't say it enough how much that fits the horses and me, quite frankly, just the cars and the airplanes that we're talking about, being able to really get the right people together that kind of see the world from the same lens, and are able to once again kind of make suicide prevention fun. We have built a giant game room where we have pool table and chess tables, poker tables, a bar, little craps table, all these things for veterans to be able to do game nights in addition to their healing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just, I have to go to therapy, right? It's like you get to work with horses.
Yeah.
You get to do some of these gaming things and just trying to make healing become something to look forward to, because it can be.
It's an amazing empire that you built. I mean, we were fortunate enough to get just a taste of it when we came up for a visit. We didn't get to see the horses, but that's going to have to come, Jacqueline. We're going to have to come up for another visit for sure. Maybe come and watch a Roadshow, something like that. But yeah, just the empire that you built and the things that you guys do is tremendous. It's absolutely tremendous. I mean, 99 Hearts is fantastic. We fully support what you do, and it's great. It's great to get that out there, because a lot of people are struggling. We've had vets on this program that have talked about, guns being rusty because they put them in their mouths. They were ready to off themselves, and that's some heavy stuff.
Yes.
That's some heavy stuff. So working with the veterans, I'm sure you've seen a lot of that, heard a lot of that, and that's terrific. We really love what you do.
Thank you. Yeah, some of the success stories that you get that you wouldn't share with anybody, right? These texts or whatever it is. But one just really stuck with me about the gal had said, "You guys saved my life." And that was so cool, right? I don't believe that there's a such thing as saving somebody's life. We all do it ourselves. But to be able to just foster a tunnel for somebody to get to the other side is the whole, I mean, that's what it is.
That's a good
It's really
perspective.
wonderful.
I like that. I haven't heard it worded
Yeah.
that way before.
I mean, even if it's just that one person, like the entire time, like we could do this for years, but if we help one person, then that means a lot. And I am known for being a modern man and getting emotional. However, it's okay to get emotional because life is serious. And yeah, just being open and honest, like you're open and honest about, you know, I dealt with suicide. You know, I had to get through that. And that creates strength, and people can recognize that because you're admitting to it, right? And same with the addiction stuff and everything Kevin's put on the line here too. Like, sure, we have fun, we have some beers, we get to know people, but within getting to know people, we expose ourselves and we're vulnerable. And whenever we get that email from somebody or some sort of feedback where it's like, hey, you know, I've put down this and I haven't touched that in X amount of time after listening to this episode, like, it's a little surreal because it's like, you know, we're just so fortunate to be here and have a fun time, but at the same time, it is important, you know, to stay consistent and to stay vulnerable. You know, that's important.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's really, I like that you said modern man. That's good. I like it. I'm going to use that. I stole it.
No, please.
It's mine.
I'm
going
also,
to trademark it.
also modern day hippie too. Both rolled into one.
Modern day hippie.
Yes.
I like it.
It's a good way to
Yeah.
encapsulate it and to kind of
Yeah.
piggyback off what we talked about opening the episode and some of the things you said, encouraging people to be themselves and be open. I think it's good. It's helped me too a little bit because I've always been one of those guys that pushes it down and doesn't let the emotion out. And I called you earlier and I was like, man, I had a modern man moment today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was a song that came on the radio. I was crying like a baby going down 225. I'll be honest, I was, but I needed it. I had to get that out. You know, so again, it's being one with your emotions. You know, and really being in the moment, being real with it. I feel like that's something I'm continuing to work on. Something I got to reflect on. You know, if I'm being honest, and just continue to tighten up. You know, that we can always do more. We can always do a little bit. Treat myself a little bit better. You know, we got Sober October coming, Jacqueline. You know, we like to do that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it off this year, but I'm going to try.
You got this, Kev. I'll do it for my first time. I have failed every single attempt.
That's not true. Did you fail every one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If I'm being honest.
I made it through all of them.
It's funny because, well, what you were saying about the, like, tears flowing me and my sister did kind of an apprenticeship thing with the Native American community. And it was life-changing. I loved it. It was like reconnecting. I'm 51% Native American, so
Yes.
reconnecting with the roots and literally embracing it, living it, and kind of realizing it is a huge part of who I am. Right? 51%, not all of it. And so it was really lovely. And on the way here, we saw a bird just on that... The rooftop. Yeah, it was really awesome. We went onto the rooftop and it was really good. First guest on the rooftop, so
Yeah,
that was
That's
me.
right. She can claim the title. She claimed the title.
It was fun. But there was this big hawk, and in Native American culture, that's a really good omen of just kind of life's going the right direction or synchronicity, whatever you want to call it. But one thing we learned in that training, if you will, was that warriors, that tears, I mean, that's a thing of warriors. Like, only warriors cry, right? Warriors cry when you can cry. That's one of the symbols of a true warrior, because you realize that that's what life is about, is being authentic and not stuffing it down. So it's a cool little paradigm to meet.
That is.
Yeah.
Wow, I think that's the promo clip right there. That just encapsulated some epic information.
Has it replaced the truck on your arm, though? I don't know. I don't know
I mean,
if it
that's up
does.
for debate. But no, I mean, that
That is
carries.
a good looking Ford you got on there.
Thanks, man.
It is.
I appreciate that.
That's great.
That was my first tattoo I ever got. First one, I just turned 18. I was like, I got to get this. You know, and my folks like, you know, all right, we support it. You know, get it done. But it's fun. You know, I stay true to my. I don't want to say redneck because I'm not a redneck, but my country roots. You know, I'm kind of a country boy, so. Got to rock with that. I don't know. I guess that comes with messy snacking patterns, a love for cars, beer drinking, and just hanging out, having a good time.
I might be a country boy. Thanks.
Who knows anymore?
That's all right, and that's absolutely
exactly.
okay. If you
I
are.
know. I'm like, Kevin, thanks.
We live in a time where we can be whatever we want, apparently.
Exactly,
so,
yeah. No, you just described me, so I'm like, yeah.
Country boy, country girl.
That's me.
Country persons. So one thing that was a culture shock for me, as a adolescent, before adolescence even, was living in Denver, where I was a minority in like preschool and everything, and then my folks moved out to Parker, Colorado, and not only Parker but like rural Parker. Like we had 5 acres and like I'm so fortunate, but it was such a difference of a lifestyle, and being around different cultures and stuff, and it's interesting how life is too, because even Denver, and I'll just use Denver as an example because that's where we're at, but even it's 2022 and the city is segregated, right? Like there is segregation in the city, and there's like different areas where you find more ethnicity within that area. And so it's interesting because I've met so many people that are of different ethnicity than me, and not that even matters, but just the amount of similarities in conversation and respect for life. Like there's really, sure, stereotypes exist, and some of them are true, and that's fine. But when you really sit down and get to know people, life really does open up in a different way. And so fortunate to be able to like sit here and get to know people across this table with this yokel that is always giving me a hard time. But that's what it's about. Like people who are going to hold you accountable and keep you moving forward, right?
You got to have it.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to have it for sure. And you kind of commented too when we were on the roof that, being in the ranch, you kind of ranch lifestyle, which is epic. First of all, I would love to have ranch lifestyle, but then coming down to the city, you're like, oh wow, things are fast. It's just different, right? It's great. I think both of them, that yin and yang balance is great. If it were me, if I had my choice, obviously it's good to be close to the city for what we do. I would love to live up there. It's fantastic property where you're at.
It is beautiful. Yeah,
it is. It's hard to leave. I've told you guys that. Maybe I've said that on here, but it's hard to leave sometimes where it's just like, wow. And we have we have 2 new rescues, and they're rescued from a gentleman that he's, 80 and has had some things, right? And it's kind of like wanting them to have their forever home. So it's kind of become a sanctuary for these older horses that could go to slaughter. But they're really good horses. They're not really good at riding anymore, and they love working with people, veterans especially. The one horse's name is Blue. We named him Atlantis Blue, but we nickname him Blue. And he is allocated to working with the veterans, and he was raised by a man who bottle fed because his mom died at birth. So it's so cute because he thought he was a person for like his first 3 years, and the guy had to finally like really start shooing him away because he was such a clingy animal. He thought that was his mom, the guy was his mom.
Yeah.
So working with these veterans, both men and women actually, but he just gravitates toward men, which is so hard to find in a therapy horse because a lot of these horses like girls, and they've had their good experience with these rodeo gals or whomever it might be. And so it's really just fantastic to be able to rescue these animals and kind of partner them, and him particularly, that loves men with men and veterans and that kind of thing.
So when we look at these horses, like you call them therapy horses, what is that? Because I know a little bit about horses. I've ridden them not very many times. I'd like to get a little bit better at it or experience it some more. What kind of defines it as a therapy horse? Like what does it do versus just obviously a wild horse or whatever it's tamed for horseback riding?
We're a holistic therapy, so we do a hybrid of modalities. And so what we look for is animals that really aren't triggered by kind of human contact. So some of these animals, maybe they were neglected. We have one neglected horse who was isolated for 2 years. And so when he's around these people, it's home, where he's just like, oh my God, humans, he can't get enough. So we look for horses that look forward to the kind of work, and we do all groundwork. So it's not there's therapeutic riding, which is quite a bit different than what we do. We do work on the ground, which is everything ranging from energy work, horse therapy, equine assisted coaching, equine assisted mindfulness practice,
What's
equine assisted yoga. Equine is the horse, is the fancy word for horse.
Yes, that's like the definition of their like species.
Yes.
Like we're sapiens.
Yes.
And that would be equine.
Yes.
Horse.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
It's good to know for the listeners, yes.
Yes, thanks. They'd have been like, I'm going to go pour myself some more wine. Yeah. No, equine. So, yes.
No, that's important work, though. Like, so all these different areas you're touching as far as this therapy is not just like one piece. You know, you're making a puzzle, trying to make a picture out of it.
Yes, we offer multiple equine-assisted activities, healing experiences, therapies, and it's, a lot of customized work for these deep cases. So right now we're looking for taking in about 4 to 6 more veterans for our long-term program, which is a little bit more deep and intensive and kind of customized. And so we really customize the program to what the person needs, what they want to experience in their healing journey, which is super important. It's not always easy to go to methods that don't work for you.
Those are important questions to ask. Like, where would you like to go? Because then when you start asking those questions to somebody, maybe it's a question they haven't asked themselves in a really long time. So it's like you kind of get the brain stirring.
And you got to kind of wonder, too. I mean, I'm sure you deal with a lot of people that are wanting to make a change, recognizing, hey, I'm dealing with this situation, I'm feeling suicidal, but it takes them wanting to, reach out for help, right? And maybe get in touch with somebody that could help them. I think that's the biggest thing right there that a lot of folks struggle with is they just don't feel that there's any hope for them, right? So there's that barrier there. And I think you guys have done a good job of breaking down that barrier and like you said earlier, making suicide awareness fun, because it's obviously a very difficult thing to talk about. It's very emotional. And there's a lot of things tied to it. And you guys have built a crazy empire that has made it fun. It's weird to incorporate suicide with fun. Those two words don't really go together, but I mean, revolutionary.
Yeah, it's about finding that passion and really finding yourself again is the big thing, is finding and recreating yourself again, not going back to even the old you that was before the struggles, right? It's about creating based on who you are. So it's been pretty cool.
Well, and times change too. So this isn't mine, but I feel like it's important to share stuff like this. Is as you are setting goals and accomplishing them over time, because any good goal should take some time to accomplish, your circumstances change. So your attitude and perspective of how you're staying driven needs to also change. Because as you continue to succeed, then your circumstances change, and you have to change your mindset now. Because you're not dealing with the same circumstances. You're a different person now. So I totally agree with what you're saying. Like, the old you, like you almost just have to be like, I respect that person, and I'm so sorry that you struggled, but like, this is new me, and that's what's really catapulting right now. And so you gotta, once you land that boulder wherever it lands, then you gotta build a new catapult. And like, I'm going to go ahead and say that boulders get bigger as you keep throwing them, because like if you're trying to drive your success, then you're going to keep challenging yourself. It's like when you start like working out or whatever, like so I started going on walks all the time, and like a mile was good. Like I was like, all right, I feel good about doing a mile, and that was months ago. And now I'm like, let me hit 4 in a day, let me hit 5. It's just such an easy workout. Like it's not strenuous, but even just making that kind of progress, like it's interesting to see how your perspective changes on something like when you become a master of it. So I know I have a lot of raw rambles on here and long-winded things to say.
We love the raw talk.
Yeah, I mean, I have things to say. And when your circumstances change, you have to change your mindset, is what I'm trying to say.
I like that. The time is now. That's we took a picture in front of the clock. Time is now, guys. No, it's so true, though, because, that's what it is. A lot of us don't do things because fear, guilt, and shame of the past. That's it. I mean, otherwise, if we were just living in the now, it's like, man, all of the BS is behind me already. A lot of times, right? And we just perpetuate it by thinking we're that same person or all of it. Yeah, it's good. It's good.
I mean, like I was saying earlier, one thing I do to, kind of put some of that behind me is just stay really busy. And I know that's something that you do as well. I mean, we watch you on social media. We see you're doing music, you're doing photography, you're running 99 Hearts. I mean, I'm going to steal this question from you because I know you wanted to ask her this.
Go ahead, you can take it.
When do you allow yourself time to pump the brakes and unwind and settle? Because I know I haven't in the last 4 months.
Yeah, when's the last time that you just
Did nothing.
Did nothing on a whole day? Like you
Just relax.
just
Last
chilled.
Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Last Sunday, we went to the hot springs. Ezra and I, it was our anniversary, our 6-year anniversary. and
Congratulations.
thank you. Yeah, someone lasted 6 years with this. Gold medal.
Solid lad.
Yeah, your husband's a super solid lad.
I've never shook his hand, but I want to. I know Kevin would like to as well.
Super solid lad.
Yes.
He's a good dude. Yeah, very dynamic. I mean, you kind of have to be when you're doing all this stuff, and really has supported the horses in ways that, I mean, the stories. One day we need to film it to tell our stories with these rescue animals and the little things that happen up in the hills when you're running that in a blizzard and all of it. So yeah, it's good. No, but last week we went to Hot Springs, and I'm actually doing a lot better job. We're all kind of talking about growth, and a year ago I was just going so hard that I was going somewhere, but I thought I was going faster. And I kind of did do what you're asking, is pull back and go, what matters? Not what will generate the most revenue, not what do others expect based upon my expectations I've given them. What do I want to do? And that has been a game changer of really, truly, like, embodying, actually doing what you want to do.
That's a monumental movement. But I think, again, you find out what you want by finding out what you don't want. Getting burnt out like we've been doing. I mean, if we're being honest here, we've been going hard, real hard. Just overbooking, too many events, all that kind of stuff, drinking too much, you name it. There comes a point where you're like, we got to reevaluate this. How can we maximize results and also still maintain productivity and health, right? I mean, all that comes into it, because I feel like when I'm like a Tasmanian devil. I just launch onto it, and I'm just like, let's go. I gotta pump the brakes a little bit here, guys. I gotta dial it back. I think that's where I'm at. So that's good that you realized a year ago, hey, I'm going too hard. Would you say you were going faster than you were traveling? How'd you word it?
You were going You thought you were going faster than you were.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think I can relate to that. And especially in racing terms, because we all know I'm the best racer here, but that's neither here nor there.
Not best street driver.
I disagree with that.
Well,
but
I
again,
will too.
That's neither here nor there.
Are we going to have to settle this with the street race?
Let's go, quarter mile, baby.
No, he'll beat me in a race, but I'm just better at street driving than he is. Like by the law.
No, absolutely not.
He's a better racer, though. I will give him that.
We'll see.
So you're better at stopping for 3 seconds at the stop sign.
I'm an old man as far as my driving style goes. Yeah. And Kevin, he's kind of jerky on his clutches. He has a standard transmission.
I do have a manual transmission.
And it's sometimes it's a little rough.
Absolutely not. I mean, first of all, my car is a little bit older, so I got to baby that clutch, Jacqueline. I can't be coming off that thing too hard. I got to baby it. I'm not trying to dump that clutch and smoke the tires.
I don't even let him drive us to events anymore.
He's not trying to abuse his children.
Yeah, I can't allow it. No, that's funny. I love a show with some mild shit talking in it. That's important.
It's been a while since we have one of these. But
just kidding.
You've been on our show so many times now that
I'm being serious about what I'm saying right now.
Yeah, no, that's good to give each other. What do you think, Jacqueline? If we were to race,
ooh,
are you?
No, you're racing.
Oh, me and you.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us.
Oh,
no, he'll beat me in a race.
So he's already in third. You think you got what it takes to beat the champ?
Well, what are you driving in this race?
That's a good question, because I feel like if we're really going to test our racing
you have
abilities,
to be in the same car.
we have to be in the same car.
Yeah.
So whether we're doing kart racing, NASCAR drag racing, let's pick a common car here. Let's go with what are we driving? What would be your pick?
Yeah.
If 1970. Does it have to be today?
No.
1970 Plymouth Barracuda or Cuda.
Are we drag racing or are we?
Yeah, we're drag racing down the quarter mile.
Manual.
Okay.
Manual transmission. You've got a Hemi. I've got a Hemi.
My
favorite car. Yeah. And how does this race end?
I think Jacqueline's gonna take it.
I don't know. I think it's gonna be a photo finish.
Photo finish.
Yeah, I think somebody's winning by a fender. That's it. I think this is going to be a close race, Jacqueline.
Photo finish with the fender.
Photo finish with a fender.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to have time to light a cigar
Ooh.
and be like,
Oh.
hey, Kevin, how are you? I've got one for you.
Y'all have a photographer posted up. You're like laying on the roof, like smoking. Like, yeah, what's up?
And then Kevin gets famous. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Yeah.
you know,
You guys ready for this?
We have access for Bandamere. We could get in there and probably
Yeah, we got to get with those guys. We were up there for the Mile High Nationals. I think you were up there
I
not long
was
ago.
up there. Yeah, what date was that?
July 16th.
We went
Oh,
on
no, I was
Saturday.
the weekend prior for 4th of
Okay.
July.
Oh, you went
actually.
up there for Jet Cars Under the Stars or whatever it was?
It was nice. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a good time. Yeah. Did you guys
Bandamere.
comment on that, right?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, after having Willie B on that week, we went up there for the Mile High Nats. We had a lot of fun. Bandamere's it's one of my favorite racetracks in the country, you know, because I've been to so many drag racing tracks, NASCAR tracks. Arthur and I are going to Phoenix, Arizona,
Yes.
November 6th for the NASCAR Championship.
It's gonna be
I'm
my
pumped.
first actual NASCAR race. My first
You've been
race
to
car
prac-
race.
Yeah.
NASCAR race. I've been to the practice before, and
Yep.
that was awesome. But I've never seen them actually do it. So
And this is the
to go to the
championship.
championship, I'm stoked.
Oh,
I'm
it's
stoked for
Nice.
that.
it's going to be
fun.
epic.
That's exciting. That's in which, where at?
Yeah, Phoenix, Arizona,
Phoenix.
and my co-host of Mash the Gas, Jeff Davis, Super
Yes,
Solid
Jeff.
Lad, is going to be there with us. So we're going to have all the podcasters there, just having a blast. We're looking forward to that. But yeah, I could go off on racing, Jacqueline. I love it, and I'll take you up on that. If we're running the Hemi Cudas, I'm in.
Okay,
I'm going to give you my
guys.
best go.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my best go.
We're going to film it, and I'm going to smoke a cigar and wait for you.
All right. I like that. I like the shit talking.
I'm burying myself yeah, on camera.
You're like, I've went too far with this. I must keep going.
Can we edit this?
Have you ever done like K1 or Unser, the kart racing?
Yes, I love that stuff. It's fun.
And do you whip everyone's ass like I do?
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it's a good time.
It is a good time.
Yeah.
and you do all right.
I'm pretty sure I won every time.
You're all right.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
You don't stop at stop signs for 3 seconds. Come on.
I get that. I get that California stop. You just roll up to it, peek around, and then go. You know, we don't have time to waste.
Yeah.
I got pulled over once for that, and I knew it was going to happen, too, the second I did that. Because the cop was on me, I was just like, yeah, just go ahead. He's like, why am I pulling you over? Because I blew that stop sign, officer. You know. Pretty easy.
You knew he knew.
Yeah, we all knew. And I think everybody knows everything, in a sense, through the intuition, through the subconscious network. You know? Like, so I've been doing this test for years now, and it works with strangers all the time. And what you do is primarily driving is your best scenario, right? Because you're not at walking speed. You could get away if you need. So, like, you look over at somebody in their car. Like, you look over at them. And I guarantee you they look back. Like, people can feel...
They get uncomfortable.
Or like, you can feel when someone looks at you and you're like, who's looking at me right now? Like, it happens.
Oh, okay. Creepy upbringing, or creepy topic. So on the way here, I was on I-25 going toward Colorado Boulevard, and that very thing happened to me.
Okay.
So I was driving, and I just had this like, who's staring at me? And I looked over, and there was a dude just like staring at me, and I'm like, is everything okay? And kept going. But that's so intriguing that you said that.
Once you start noticing things like that, and you become conscious of this hidden power that everybody has to like sense what's happening, it's interesting, especially once you like start to harness it yourself, and you're like, I'm gonna get into the 3 to 5 second rule. I'm sure have we told you that before?
She probably already
No.
knows it.
Okay, you do it this time.
Yeah, I can
Kev.
do that. But yeah, no, I mean, situational awareness, intuition, I think those two things go together for sure. Just kind of knowing what's going on. Like you said, you're like, oh, what? Somebody looks at you and you can kind of feel it. Like situational awareness for sure, I think is very intuitive. And our intuition is right 99% of the time. I think I also stole that quote from you. But it is. I think it is true. Our intuition will lead us towards the light. And intuition can get caught up between, the heart and the brain, so to speak, right? You think one thing, but you know that this is the right way. So that said, the 3 to 5 second rule, which we've talked about a lot on this program, and I'm sure you know this, Jacqueline, because you're a go-getter. When you have an idea or you want to do something, whatever it is, you have 3 to 5 seconds to act on it, or your brain will begin to try to talk you out of it. I mean, we've all been there. Like, oh, I don't want to take out the trash. 3 to 5 seconds, I'm taking it out. I mean, something as little as that to as big as, I'm going to go attend an event. I'm going to start a business, whatever. 3 to 5 seconds, your mind will start to talk you out of it. What do you think about that?
I believe it. I believe it, actually. Even I was at an event Saturday. It was where I was doing a runway walk. It was a casting event where I have a table coming up for my charity for 99 Hearts at this fashion show to talk to people about suicide prevention and so forth. But I did this runway casting, and I didn't read. I knew the directions said wear platform shoes, and every girl, I was like, every girl's wearing the right shoes beside me. Well, whatever, it was that. I was like, my brain wanted to go, hey, you should probably not do this. And I was like, hey, you just...
Own it.
You just, shh. Like, put my brain in my pocket and walked, and it was actually a good walk,
Yeah.
I hadn't done that in, 10 years. So it was, I had to, battle myself on that thing Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels so good, though. Like, once you do what was probably going to be difficult, or you had to test your gusto or whatever, your moxie, like you get that test. Like, once you do that afterwards, you kind of are like you're surfing a little bit, you know? Like you're on the top of the wave, you're catching the wave, you got your balance, you're like, I risked it, I went for it, I'm surfing the wave right now. Like, you could fall off any moment, but for that second, like, it's on point.
It's a good feeling.
It is a good feeling.
It's like
one
watching
of the
that.
best.
It's like watching that wind light come up right when I beat Jacqueline down the quarter mile.
When I'm down there smoking my cigar, are you kidding?
I like this
like,
shit talking.
hey, you all right, Kevin? I have a cigar for you. If not, yes, no. It's what you were saying. It kind of goes back to that the time is now thing.
Yes.
This is my theory of what you just said.
Okay, let's hear it.
The human instinct to survive. Like, we love surfing, we love car racing, we love helping people. Whatever it is your deal is, painting, being a good mom, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever that means, that's your survival instinct. And when we are using it, the hopelessness does start to diminish. It does. It really does. And we're built that way. We're human. We were supposed to survive. So
yes, and move. Humans were nomadic in the beginning. We are meant to move. All this look, I have we work a lot in front of computers, always sitting down. I go on walks daily because if I'm not doing that, like, I do get depressed. Like, I can sense a difference in my energy when I'm docile compared to in motion. Like, it affects everything. It really does. And I got to go off on this just a little bit. The 3 to 5 second rule, I've been fully applying it for about, I don't know, maybe around 6 months or so. And ever since I started doing that, like, the opportunities that I've been able to utilize and capitalize on, it's just, it's been crazy. Even if it's just like, I need to walk up the stairs right now. I'm like, damn it. Like, I have to do that now, or else I'm going to talk myself out of it. And then you feel good once you walk the flight of stairs. Like, you get to the top, you're like, yeah, it's those little wins. And I talk about this frequently, and I don't mind being a broken radio because some people need positivity repeated, and you have to challenge yourself. We have to challenge ourselves. Like, it's important.
Oh, absolutely. You're just cracking me up. Broken radio, a broken record. I mean, however you heard it.
A broken radio. Okay.
No, I was just thinking, I want to break my radio like that.
Yeah, no.
Hey, the broadcast got stuck on the station because the record was broken. We're skipping.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm saying.
I knew what you were saying.
No, that was good. I wasn't going to point it out.
Oh, I had to. I
was way too good of a person for that.
It's okay. And it's full send. And this is what I'm talking, like, you're talking about being yourself. At this point in my life, I know I'm going to say some ridiculous stuff that probably is incorrect. you know, and you just send it.
Own it.
That's why people love you guys, though. That's why they watch, isn't it? To see real people talk about real things, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're going to like this episode, Jacqueline. Yeah, this is good stuff. But you
This
know,
is when it was documented that Kevin's going to lose.
I like that. That we've on August 31st, 2022, Jacqueline's gone on record to say she's a better racer than me.
Whoa, now.
That's a bold statement.
You know, we don't know until we know.
We're going to have to schedule a race at some
They
point.
said they had a good relationship with Bandamere. I mean...
You know,
We'll probably set that up, like 99 Hearts
Colin.
versus DCPC or something.
Oh,
you know?
my God, yes.
I mean...
Come on, people can do charity bets.
Oh, yeah. We can make a whole event out of that.
Yeah.
oh, that sounds
That's
like
a
lot of fun.
conversation probably for another time. But
Yeah. I mean,
Everybody wants to
the
see
logistics.
Kevin lose.
yes. So let's shift gears into fifth here and talk music.
Yeah.
Because I know we obviously all share a huge passion for music. The Roadshow has been fantastic from what I've seen. We weren't
Yes.
able to attend the last go at it, but I want to know more about it. I mean, it looks like you got an epic stage. You guys are up there doing dance and singing, doing recordings.
Yeah.
What's that looking
Major
like?
progress.
Yes. So we launched in June. It's a project I've been working on for 3 years, and I've been working with Max Schubert at Jewel Studio, and I just kind of wanted to highlight some of the work he's done because he's a guitarist and puts all of the arrangements together with me. And so what we're doing, we have about an album's worth of originals and about an album's worth of classic rock renditions. So it's been Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, Little Beatles, so kind of all of the really iconic classic rock stuff, and we're really putting a different twist on it. And so there's those two things, and really the Roadshow has been the most important thing in my whole life. I thought it was the nonprofit because the nonprofit saved my life. As a little kid, the dream to do this nonprofit thing was what saved my life from suicide, right? And so I kind of thought that's the end all to what's going to be most important, but it's been the Roadshow. And so it's a music production for suicide prevention, and we're fundraising to build the Rose Center, which will be a center outside of country, looking at Costa Rica, a couple of other places, and it will be a place for people that can't afford to get the suicide prevention help that they need to be able to literally escape for a week, to be able to recreate themselves. So that's what we're fundraising for, and so I'm lead singer, producer of the show, but Max Schubert has done a fantastic, amazing job. He's a veteran as well.
Shout out Matt.
Yeah, Max.
Max.
Yes, Max.
Max Schubert.
Yeah, so
Okay.
he's been awesome. But that's the guitars and all of this stuff, right? So it's been cool. And then we have... so it's basically me as a lead singer. Jolene, my sister, obviously went through and kind of, went through really traumatic, awful upbringing, difficult trauma. We shouldn't have lived through it. We've got 2 siblings that have suffered from disability throughout their adult lives and from their PTSD, suicide struggles, and shows dedicated to them. So I sing sister dances, and she casts her dancers. We bring in dancers, have brought in dancers that have traversed their own story with music, and so it's pretty awesome. We launched our VIP launch, and then between now and our big public experience, it's kind of a secret in terms of what we're going to add at that show, but between now and then we're doing rose petal shows at different venues in Denver, which we fondly named just a regular 45-minute set of music.
Wow.
Love it.
That's a lot to unpack there. A lot going on.
Yeah, I'm like, just shh, let me listen for a minute.
No, that's
Yeah.
terrific. Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to come out and check out one of those shows for sure. And that's cool. Your sister's name's Jolene, you said?
Jolene.
That makes
yeah.
me think of the Dolly Parton song.
I know, she
Jolene.
better not take my man.
Please don't take my man.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jolene, she's my best friend, my little sister. She's a really good dancer. And
That's terrific.
She's a great singer, too, but she just doesn't like singing on stage as much. We kind of have our little deal, and we've done some spoken word pieces as well together,
Yeah.
so it's a good time.
And you love singing. I can tell you own it. You love listening to it. I remember when we were up there for a visit and you played that track and you were just feeling it as we were listening to you sing this epic music. I mean, just it's incredible. We all share that same itch for music and singing. Our good buddy Clint came over and I played some guitar with him last Friday night. I got to sing some Tom Petty. It just makes me happy. I love to create and sing and perform. It's a really cool form of entertainment.
Yes.
Well, so there's a common theme here right now. So it's enjoying the now type of stuff, because when you're performing, when you're in the creation mode and you're making a song, and then that's the fun part of the process, and then you get into the recording mode of it. That's also a fun part. And then you get to perform it and see people react. Like, there's all these different stages, but they're all, like, so much fun and, like, enjoyable or meaningful. Let's say it's a difficult song that you're writing, but then that one meant something, and when you play it back, like, it's always fun to watch musicians listen to themselves back, because you have to, like, get through this awkward phase of hearing yourself, and then once you get used to that, then you can actually start to, like, really truly critique, like, okay, is my harmony right, or how did I hit on that? Did it hit right on there? Whatever it is, because I'm like a lyricist, a rapper, and hip hopper, but I've always been very real about my lyrics. Like, I'm not a gangster by any means, but I do think I'm hard as fuck sometimes. So it's like,
I thought you knew that.
No, I think it because back in the day I used to be super insecure. So it's like we all have to battle through getting through this stuff, and like sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it. But yeah, music creation is
tremendous.
It's second to only a couple things.
Yeah.
I mean, even the podcast kind of scratches that same itch, but it's still not the same scratch, I guess.
Yes.
I don't know.
Agreed. All of what you said is so true. It's about being in the now, and it's something about that human survival instinct. Even though it's creating music, I mean, we've been doing it for thousands of years. I mean, people were drumming around fires and all of it. It's part of our love language and our kind of expression of ourselves. We're not always, I don't think we're supposed to just talk and hear ourselves talk. It's cool actually meeting other musicians, because the mind, even like what you're saying, you're right. It's about that process. When you're writing a song and you go,
you kind of get obsessed with it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like until I find that riff or that melody, until I could put that lyric in there that what in the hell rhymes with this word and makes sense. Like, I would have those kind of battles with myself where I'm like, what's it going to be? But it's so much fun. It's a good challenge.
It is. And it's incredible to create, and just that feeling, like when I play my guitar, my Martin guitar, which I love, and Ryan Criss was on the show last week, and he plays with Ryan Criss and the Rough Cuts, which is a fantastic band.
Awesome.
If anyone didn't listen to that podcast, check that out. Super solid lad. I love talking to musicians because everybody has a little bit of a different take on it, but we all kind of have that same common theme of let's collaborate, let's create, let's get hungry, let's go after it, and doing what it takes to do it. I feel like a lot of musicians all feel the same thing, sacrifice. Right, giving up time, going on the road, whatever it is, right? It takes a lot to chase any dream, really. But I feel like musicians definitely, as entertainers in general, I think all kind of share that same experience. And it's just cool to sit down and collaborate with these guys. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys are your guitar and your vocals?
I'm guitar and vocals.
Okay.
And then I'm like digitally create beats. So I made a bunch of rap tracks. And a rapper, a lyricist. Yeah. I would like to say a rhythmic, poetic. No, rhythmic poetry. Rhythmic talking Tourette's.
Yeah, like a rhythmic poet, basically.
Yeah, like sometimes I just like bust out in freestyles.
Which is fun. We like to have fun with that. Yeah. I always have to jump in with Art when that happens because I like to participate.
Oh, really?
And doing freestyle.
Oh, man, I want to see this battle.
We'll do that after the show.
No, we will. We will. It's so true, though, because like freestyling to me is like you're listening to the most talented guitar player freestyle on these chords and like putting it together, like, being able to just like express yourself through lyrics, like it's been such a safe place for me. Like being able, like that's my spot where even when I was a super insecure teenager, like people asked me to rap, like I would always hold that down, right? And so it's just like we all have our places where we feel the most confident, and being a lyricist was always one of mine, and that's kind of why we do this podcasting, is because Kevin always had a touch for music and wanted to be an entertainer, wanted to be a meteorologist. I felt like I had a message to give to the world, like, and say something real that isn't, this fat, like all the rappers that talk about things that you don't do, like that's fine, but I think it's kind of whack at the same time. Like you should at least disclose that, like be like, hey, this song is fiction. It never happened, but I'm gonna rap about this. Instead of trying to act like you're somebody that you're not, and like then push that on a platform, So I feel like there's an authenticity that it's hard to find authenticity in life in general, and that also is in music as well. So when you can get an authentic songwriter that says things that are factual and they're being vulnerable, I love that type of music, and I feel like I can tell when it's not that type of music.
Yeah.
It's an expression of emotion, right? I mean, that's what it is. Performing is an expression of emotion, which I'm sure you can relate to. I mean, we're doing it through music. It's a form of communication, just like we're doing right now. Sitting down, having a chat, catching up, talking a little smack. It's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
And when you're belting, like, and you let it loose, and you have a beautiful voice, like, and you're letting it go, like, there has to be, like, you know, the feeling we're talking about here, where it's like, yes,
Yeah.
freedom.
It's releasing that. Yes, well said. Both of that, because both of those things were well said, because it's kind of that warrior crying. That same thing is really. It takes kind of a warrior to put your music out there, your art out there, yourself, your authentic self. It's not small, and there's so many successful people out there, successful rappers, successful singers, successful race car drivers. That yeah, I was going to make a joke, but I refrained.
I can handle it, Jacqueline.
You guys proud? Growing on
whatever.
the show. No, but you said something really cool. That was really true. Like, when it comes to being a poet, like rapping, that's you're going fast, and it's people kind of sometimes underestimate what it takes to be a poet in that pace and to keep yourself on timing. One of the fun facts that you might like is we've inserted, Michael calls it a rap, Max Schubert, he calls it a rap, but it's a rhyme, I call it, which is like a freestyle poetry.
Yes.
That I insert into these classic rock renditions.
Awesome.
So like Led Zeppelin, I put each one a little rhyme that kind of tells a story. What did this song mean to me? Why did I choose it with it being fast? And oh man, it takes a lot to just be able to rhyme and keep it going on time, on a microphone in the studio. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite an art for it, and I like to say I can make a rhyme every time. I'm a poet and didn't even know it.
Fire.
And the whole country laughed.
No, but the thing is, it's true. Like, everything with practice, though, is the thing. Like
Repetition is a mother skill.
When I started, don't you look? Everyone knows the quote, Kevin.
I'm going to say it every week, damn it.
So when I started, Kevin was teaching me a couple of the frets and everything on his guitar, and I have always just given that to other people. Like, I am talented in other areas, so I never really, but I respect and love the guitar and the piano. Those are my two favorite instruments. Saxophone's probably in there too, but when I was playing it, like, you could feel it on your fingers, like, just that, even after like 5 minutes, especially virgin fingers on a guitar.
Oh yeah, it hurts.
Like, it was, yeah. So just like rhyming, like, if like I didn't start good, it just felt right for me. So whatever your passion is, and this is the weekly challenge, actually. Figure out what your passion is. Like, to all the listeners out there, figure it out. What are you passionate about? Like, what really kind of makes you feel excited, maybe a little intimidated? You should focus on that. That means you're on the right path. If you're starting to feel like that, oh, can I do this right now sort of feeling, yes, you can, and that's the right path. So find your passion this week and be honest with yourself about it, and take a small step to get there. Whether if you want to write a song, maybe just write a couple lines. Maybe if you want to start cooking, then just panko crust some chicken with some flour and egg on it. Like, just do something
Like that.
that's going to get you started in that direction. You want to be more organized. You want to be a minimalist, whatever it is. What is your passion? How often do people ask themselves, what's my passion?
Yeah.
Passions can change too. Like, what's your passion right now, and what's going to make you feel fulfilled? That's the challenge for this week. I'd like everyone to ask those questions to themselves.
I think it's a great challenge. I mean, it's a lot of what we kind of encapsulated in tonight's episode. Talking about cars, talking about music, talking about nonprofits, talking about learning what you want by finding out what you don't want. All those things together are important things to reflect on. And I think everybody out there listening is capable and able of doing whatever they put their mind to. This is a long, cold, hard road. There's going to be some challenges, but there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel, and whatever it is that sparks your interest when you get out of bed in the morning. I know we're beating a dead horse here, no pun intended. These horses are alive, but the fact remains, find that passion, run with it, and, go own it. And so,
good one. That's good.
I'll turn this to Jacqueline here. We obviously ask every guest this question. You've answered it 3 times now. It's probably changed a little bit. Maybe it's the same as far as giving advice for humanity that could better us all tomorrow. You're already doing that. So I'd be curious if you have anything to add to it or a different perspective. And what are your thoughts on that?
You know, I think in the spirit of today, I think awakening that warrior. It's really
Yes.
it's something
that.
we all have in us. It doesn't matter if you're who you are, what your walk of life is, what your mission is. There is something about that thing when you know, like you were saying, following your intuition of really, it's that one thing you start doing that feels right, and the elevation of it is kind of a calling, a following, right? It's a hunger. It's kind of like when you take your first chips and salsa, you're like, okay, I need the rest of that basket. Very similar
Great
in
analogy.
life. And very similar where you're like, okay, my warrior spirit wants to keep doing that. I'm challenging me. Like I'm seeing me as my own adversary, and I'm going to beat you through this. So I'd say just awaken that warrior spirit, and that's where the love falls. How hard that journey is to create that piece of content, art, make your first flub where you go, man, oh my God, I don't ever want to see that again.
Necessary.
Yeah. It is. That's all I'd say. Just wake up as your warrior and just kind of keep being that person.
We're all warriors.
Yeah.
And we can be warriors at any moment. That's terrific. I really like that term. I'm going to start adopting that because, I like to use a term like alpha or a lion, king of the jungle, warrior. There's a level of intensity to that carries a lot of weight. And I'm going to adopt that. I am a warrior. You're a warrior. Everyone in this room is a warrior. You're all warriors. Go unleash your inner warrior.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, because here's the thing is the greatest battle in life is the battle we fight with ourselves. And, squaring up with yourself is something that, are you going to be true when you look in the mirror? Or are you going to be, honest with yourself when you look in the mirror? Look at yourself in the eyes and see if you actually fucking have fire. I love testing myself like that. But everyone, whatever your test is, just fucking study for that motherfucker. Because this is not a rehearsal. Life is happening right now, and there's no takebacks. All right, this is crucial. It's superior to be, present. So I could go off. I could really go off on this, but the main point here is that it's so good to be open and honest, and we love what you do. We'll always support what you do, Jacqueline, because it means a lot to a lot of people, and it's just, let's all try to do something bigger than ourselves. When we're selfish, life loses meaning. We have to do, but you give to give. You don't give expecting to receive. That's not the right mindset to give in. So, it's beautiful life. There's a lot of beautiful challenges, and thank God there's more to come. And we always like to say to our listeners to be good to themselves because they deserve it. But it's true.
It is true. It is true. So before we close this thing down, because this was a lot of fun, it was good to sit down and kind of just hang out again. It's great to see you. It's very motivating what you do, and we're always saying, man, Jacqueline's just out there getting it, and it motivates us to go get it too. And again, I know our viewers and listeners are super stoked that you're back on the program. You're up for 2022's DCPC Guest of the Year, so that's pretty exciting. And closing statements before we shut her down.
I'm going to win that race. You guys watch.
Vroom, vroom, baby.
I will take you up on that race. Me in the place, Bandamir, give me the car, let's go.
And he's gonna create a rhyme at the end when I win my big those bands of roses when the Kentucky Derby goes on. Yes. Yeah, I'm gonna get that.
Okay. All right. I like it.
You guys saw it on camera first.
Yeah.
It's documented.
So I can see this happening within a year to 2 years max. We can make this happen. Even if it's dirt road racing, let's just all be safe. Let's make sure that we wear the right safety gear so everyone races safely.
We're going racing.
Yeah.
That's gonna have to happen.
If not, we could go do a K1 thing where we bribe them and we're like, look, it's just these two people on the track right now.
Whatever we have to do. Because you've now challenged me, and I'm going to accept that challenge.
Okay.
And we're going to put this to
We're
the
on
pavement.
2 Hemis.
Where the rubber meets the road. Let's go.
All right.
And on that
You
note,
got it.
you guys already know everything's going to be included in the show notes down below. Get in touch with Jacqueline, follow her on all social media platforms.
Yes.
Fantastic guest. Thanks again for coming down. I know it was a long drive for you coming out of your neck of the woods. We really appreciate you coming to spend some time with us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks. And remember, you guys are worth it.